Adapt or Die, Draft 5. How to exercise your aliveness. I do not want to aid myself in my own death, and I do not want to die passively. This means that I must partake in the experience of being alive fully and without reserve. There is no such thing as time wasted, because I am living wholly for myself, within but not for a system that feeds on the labor and trauma of the marginalized. Death, the physical and ideological. Death is defined as the action or fact of dying or being killed, the end of a life of a person or organism. I will define ideological death as the moment non-physical, spiritual, emotional, etc. movement ceases. That is to say that true satisfaction is death, and in the words of Andrew Bolton, satisfaction is a self-imposed impossibility. Aliveness both lacking death and actively working against it. To be alive is defined by one being alert and active in a state of non-death. Considering ideological death, one can assume that to become satisfied is to become complacent and invite stagnancy, which is death as well. To exercise aliveness is to actively and continuously deny self-satisfaction and/or complacency in the name of adaptation. Holon between Kessler and Chang. Holon is defined by Arthur Koestler as something that is simultaneously a part in a whole. Holon is further defined by Mei-Ling Chang as something that assumes its provisional autonomy, but voluntarily or not admits to interdependence among its margins. We should think of ourselves as holons, both selves and non-selves, interdependent but not interchangeable parts whose eventual disposal is unavoidable. Although physical death is unavoidable, non-physical death can be conquered. The following commandments are guidelines for those who wish to adapt to their circumstances in order to thrive. Adaptation is defined as the process of change by which an organism becomes better suited to its environment. It is increasingly clear to me that I must adapt or die. Deny stagnancy. Stagnancy is defined as showing little or no activity or vitality, to be inactive or sluggish. Stagnancy is a precursor to death, both physical and ideological. To deny stagnancy is to deny death. Deny cruelty. Cruelty is defined as callous indifference to or pleasure in causing pain and suffering. Indifference is intentional ignorance. Cruelty is the result of fear and pursuit of power. Fear is limiting and begets stagnancy. Pursuit of power is likely to corrupt. To deny cruelty is to face fear head-on and accept chance. Deny laziness. Laziness is defined as the quality of being unwilling to work or to use energy. Idleness. Laziness slows growth and shirks responsibility. To deny laziness is to deny stagnancy and seek adaptation. Trust no idols to be pure. Purity is defined as freedom from immorality. Immorality is subjective. To expect purity from another is authoritarian. It is a disservice to myself and to my idols to assume that we are ever done growing. To allow room for impurity is to allow room for innovation and to deny stagnancy. Accept loss of control. Control is defined as the absolute power to influence or direct people's behavior or the course of events. To accept direct loss of control is to accept direct chance and embrace the unexpected. Deny cowardice. Cowardice is defined as lack of bravery. Bravery is defined as willingness to confront agony, pain, danger, uncertainty, or intimidation. To deny cowardice is to take on responsibility to push oneself, especially when it gets hard. Deny self-isolation. Self-isolation is the intentional avoidance of the other. To deny cooperation and collaboration with the other allows your convictions to become weak. This is parallel to homogeneous ecosystems or immune systems. The unknown makes life both more dangerous and more possible. Look out for others. The other is defined as a person that is different or distinct from one already mentioned or known about. We are unable to fully conceptualize the other because everything we understand is through ourselves. A holon is both a self and a part, and one must take as much responsibility as possible for others' growth as well as their own. Be careful, be considerate, be smart, keep moving. We are always battling with language. How do we refine our actions in a way that makes connection purposeful? How do we reckon with the unavoidable in a way that gives us agency? I find myself influenced conceptually by pop stars like Dorian Electra, Charlie XCX, Sophie, Janelle Monáe, and Lorde, because they understand the total chaos of the world but never shy away. Instead, they amplify their identities and harness that chaos in a way that serves them and their respective communities. Young, queer, non-male, non-white, etc. If pop culture is their environment, they find cracks in the foundation and widen them just enough for the infrastructure to crumble in on itself when they've drawn a crowd. It is my hope that we work to challenge this infrastructure as well. Adapt or Die comes from a desire to share resources, ways to not only survive but thrive when we are systemically oppressed, ways to enjoy living and keep each other's head above water. The commandments listed come from years of experiences, advice, and collaboration, both conscious and unconscious. Adapt or Die will continue to be published as a series of unresolved drafts so that these new influences can be shared as they come. The floor is always on the verge from falling out from under us. Make it count.